like to call a meeting to order. Almighty God, you have blessed us with memory, reason, and skill. Help us to use them wisely in the service of our town government. We ask this in thy holy name. Amen. We salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. The first thing on the agenda will be to welcome the public and public forum if you wish to enlighten us upon an ongoing project maybe.
Yeah, so my name is Josh Howell. I am the president of Northern Frontier Little League. Northern Frontier Little League is a division of Little League International, which is baseball and softball program for kids between the ages of 7 and 12 years old. Again, it's baseball and softball. We do have a boundary of kids that we pull from, and that's the NAC school district, the NCCS school district, and the Shazy school district. So any kid that attends those schools does qualify or is eligible to play in our program. This is our first year. We actually end our season on Friday, so we get started a little bit before some of the other programs in our towns, because we do have district tournaments and sectionals and states that the kids can play in as well. So it was a great year. We had, I believe it was 103 kids sign up to play Little League this year, which is unbelievable, beyond my expectations. So we had 9 teams. We had roughly 31 local businesses sponsoring what we were trying to do here, which was fantastic. And currently we're playing in Altona at the reservation. There's a baseball field out there that they built 5 or 6 years ago that hasn't been used. So they were willing to give that to us this year. We kind of redesigned it with some fences that we bought and made it you know, for Little League play, so it's been fantastic. So with that, I don't know if any questions, I'll be happy to answer, but that's kind of what we're all about. So, and I know we've talked to the town of Champlain about maybe looking to build some fields that, you know, we could kind of partner with you guys for our Little League program. I think we're working on that now, or maybe working towards that now. There's been some progress made, so I'm just kind of here to listen, answer anybody's questions regarding our Little League program, and I think that's about it. So.
Okay, Alan, you might want to update us on what you've already done on our park.
Well, I took the Bob Benton Park. We were held it. I had Drew's box played it, they leveled it. I seeded it down last week, Friday and Saturday. Josh, my nephew, helped me pick stones on Sunday. And hopefully the grass grows, we get a good turf going for this year, so it'll be ready for next year. I don't know, I think it'll work out. It's a pretty level field. Just the bases we can put them in next year.
Right.
And fence it, there's gonna be quite a bit of things to worry about, but I think we can arrange that. Now, you guys, the funding of all this, you guys gonna help with that, eh?
My thought on that is, if during our season, that if we could have full access to the field, meaning we're not going to have to get out there and worry about a town baseball team or softball team wanting to use the fields, then I wouldn't have any issue with us helping get those together.
There's where that schedule comes in.
That's where the schedule comes in that we sort of talked about, correct. So, because, you know, obviously we raise money to have uniforms, buy equipment, but there's also grants available through Little League, but the field has to be used for Little League. And in order for us to access that, you know, it would have to be we'd have to schedule it so that when we're having our season, we would have access to those fields when town ball starts. Hopefully we're finished, and then those teams can can obviously pursue and use the fields after that, or soccer in the fall or what have you. But for our season, in order for us to use our funds, we would need the fields to be dedicated to Little League.
Approximately how long is your season?
This year we opened on May the 5th, and we're ending on this Friday, June the 15th. So
May, June?
May, June, yes. We, like I said, we're so far behind everybody else in the country starting baseball. So, you know, when you turn on the TV in August, you see the Little League World Series. A lot of programs started in March. We're not getting started till May. So we really take our season and we have to crunch it into about 6 weeks. So that way, if we do decide to play in an all-star district type tournament, we need to be finished because that tournament's starting on June 26th. So, you know, there would be opportunities maybe down the road that we might be able to host, you know, an all-star tournament for Little League, you know, as we kind of get into those things. But I mean, that's obviously down the road. So, you know, that would be nice for the town because we would bring people from Messina, Troy, Watertown, Pulaski, you know, those areas. Plattsburgh would all come here to play, which would be kind of cool. But, you know, we have to get things ready, and there's certain standards and safety requirements that Little League would have to inspect and make sure that we meet those. But, you know, again, it's an opportunity, and it would bring people to the area, which I think would be good. So.
What is the timetable for improving the park, other than just putting bases down? You got a lot more than that to do.
Well, in terms of our season, there's really not much. We have to have a backstop, and you have to have dugouts that are protecting the children from foul balls. Otherwise, you don't really need anything. You don't need an outfield fence. We prefer to have that because I think, you know, what we're trying to bring is a different experience to the kids. You know, the kids pay to play in our program. So, you know, we want to bring the home run ball into play. I mean, I think kids, when they go to play baseball, they think about hitting a home run. So, you know, to have the outfield fence, to have a grass infield, for it to always be lined with chalk, I think it just gives the kids a much better experience, which is what we're trying to bring. So, but in terms of Little League, they'll say you don't have to have an outfield fence, you know, but.
Outfield fences and stuff, would that be only if you got grants maybe, or?
Well, what we did this year is we went to a local business and asked them to be our field sponsor.
Okay.
And they gave us the money that allowed us to buy a temporary fence. It's a mesh fence. You put plastic inserts about 12 inches into the ground, and then you put the poles in, and the mesh fence goes around. It works really nice. It just gives it that feel, that depth as you're standing there hitting home plate, that, you know, maybe I'll hit a home run this time. So we made some accommodations by just raising money to do that. So that's an opportunity. You know, again, that's probably a much more economical way to approach it than to buy an entire fence around the field. I mean, because that's what we did this year. So.
Now, if you were to host a district type of tournament, are there any requirements that are placed on the hosting team as far as like concessions, the number of parking spots, etc.?
Honestly, I being our first year, we're not even going down that path this year. My understanding is you just have to have an approved safety plan in place. I'm not sure about parking spaces. I'm not sure about concessions. If you have lights, there's obviously lighting requirements that you have to adhere to. So there is a safety plan, but again, I don't think it goes into the parking concession realm. More just that do you have adequate space to get police in or emergency vehicles in? Are the kids protected? Those sort of things. So I think you'd have to have a fence around the entire field to pass the safety plan, but I'm not really 100% sure on the other items. So.
Do you need public restrooms?
Be a good idea. We have we had porta potties at the reservation because they don't have power there. They ran their concession off a generator, so
Okay.
they did bring out 4 portable bathrooms for our season. So. But in terms of a district, I don't know the answer to that. But
Okay.
just for our season,
Okay.
that was certainly okay.
Well, we certainly see it as a worthwhile project. And we hope comes to
Fruition, right?
fruition and the area benefits from it.
Yeah. And we're certainly excited about it. So, I mean, it's like I said, I mean, to have 100 kids sign up in the first year is pretty remarkable. And we only had one field, so you could imagine the scheduling nightmare that you're trying to schedule 9 teams to have games on one field. It's there's just not enough hours in the day and not enough days in the week to be able to do that. So, but we somehow managed, and yes.
Previously, I can recall someone telling me that Little League requires it to be a small mound for baseball.
It does.
Do you ever go out and play on a field that was basically flat and could be used for softball or baseball, or is it absolutely requirement?
So, Little League Baseball, the pitching mound is 46 feet.
Distance.
Distance from home to the mound is 46 feet.
the mound.
And it has to be at least 6 inches. A raised mound has to be at least 6 inches.
Okay.
So again, what we did is we went to a local business. We said, hey, we're trying to utilize this field for baseball and softball. Will you be a sponsor of a pitching mound? So we raised the money for that, and we actually bought a portable pitching mound that we brought in. It's made out of fiberglass. It's covered with like an AstroTurf, and it just has a pitch. It works really well.
Okay.
It works much better than most fields at a ballpark, because what do the kids end up doing? They dig the dirt out of the mound, and then they can never get their feet comfortable. So the mound's always level, the path's always level, so it actually worked out really well. But softball's much closer, so we were able to leave that mound in and put the softball mound in front of it. And the softball, we're still pitching from a flat surface. So. But ideally, I mean, if you could have a field that was softball and a field that was baseball, would probably be more.
So they have a tournament, we should put the mound on the softball field and have the other one be regulation mound already in place.
If I recall, you have to have, you can't use a temporary mound
Tournament.
in a tournament.
Okay.
You have to have an official pitching mound on the field, so I'm almost certain.
Well, we certainly need to thank Alan for what he's done so far, coordinating it and doing a lot of it on his own time,
Oh, absolutely.
okay? And equipment.
Yes.
We wish you well. Stop in anytime.
Okay, great.
Keep us informed, let's put it that way, you know, of progress.
I just got a simple question.
Sure.
We doing the field, if we have a Little League field here, what, are you gonna change your locations of your season with the baseball fields? Or is it primarily you're gonna be in Altona?
Well, we
Or
need, I
wherever
mean,
you could get a field?
like I said, it was a scheduling issue having all the teams, so on one field. So we would need multiple fields ideally, because I mean, our idea is we're going to get bigger and better. So if we get bigger, then obviously we need more places for our kids to play. What we did this year to kind of help with that is we partnered with Plattsburgh Little League, and we did what we called an interleague play. So that half of our teams would go down there and play, and then we'd have a team come to our field and play, and we just kind of moved, because they were using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, roughly 7 or 8 fields, because they have 18 baseball teams down in Plattsburgh and 8 softball teams. So I would, you know, what we've talked about is maybe having a softball field and then having a baseball field for our majors, and then if we could have another baseball field for our minors, because those are 2 different divisions, 2 different levels of baseball. So ideally, I think as we get bigger, we need more places to practice, because kids can't practice when you have a game being played on your only field. you end up trying to find a town, you know, the park's not even open yet, you know, and you're just trying to get out there so the kids can throw. You know, so if we had places where a team could practice while we had games, or we had a baseball and a softball locations, those would, you know, that's kind of what we're looking for, whether it's in Champlain or Altoona. So I feel that we need both areas to kind of help with where we're at in terms of numbers now and where we hope to get, so.
And we're still hoping to get a baseball field at Perry's Mills Rec Park or a softball field, whatever, you know, so that should be available next year. Alan's been very good about keeping it level and
Right.
doing things, so that might be a possibility also.
Josh, of the 9 teams last year, how many of them were softball?
We only had 3 softball.
3 softball.
We, when I decided I wanted to do this, it was originally just baseball. I was just gonna say, let's try baseball, keep it small, just to kind of get things going. And so all the announcements went out to the schools. Originally it was just baseball, baseball, baseball. And then I had the president of Plattsburgh Little League Softball approach me and say, hey, you know what, we could use your help. Why don't you just see how it goes? So we kind of got a late jump on softball, which I think hurt the numbers. But even looking at Plattsburgh, I mean, they got 20 baseball teams and only 8 softball teams, and it's still the ratios, you know, pretty big. So, but.
Any other questions? Certainly, thank you for your efforts so far.
Absolutely, thank you.
Wish you success. Something the community probably needs and would appreciate.
Yeah.
And I do understand you have some pretty good sponsors who are willing to help.
Yes.
That would certainly be a community project.
We certainly wouldn't be where we are without those 31
Right.
local businesses that have really stepped up and
Right. Okay.
so.
Anything else, or?
No, not unless you guys have any other questions. Okay.
You're certainly welcome to stay for the whole meeting if you wish. Not a problem. Okay. I would like approval of the minutes of May 8th meeting.
Move to approve the minutes.
That's second.
Is there any questions or concerns about the May 8th regular board meeting? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. You have your town clerk's monthly report. We need to approve.
I make a motion that we approve the May 1st town clerk monthly report.
Any questions on the town clerk's monthly report? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's also carried. We've got a very interesting EMS report. It's quite comprehensive this time. Of all the calls they made. In the month of May, it looked like they were busy.
Especially to the west.
Pardon?
Especially to the west.
Yes.
Or the east.
Okay. Yep, you're right.
I think it's very, very detailed, but this is private information that's becoming public.
I have no
Like,
clue.
like,
They've asked for monthly reports.
Well, they've given us monthly reports before, but not with
Right.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
If I had an ambulance come to 32 Foot Street and May the 10th, I want that under, I don't know.
Yes, you ought to do.
Well, very detailed.
Yeah, maybe ask that the addresses be crossed out or just the street name or something.
I don't know, I was filling in the group.
No, I agree with you, this, you know,
Little too
we
much.
don't, little too much information.
I'll very quietly pass it over.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary in terms
We
of.
really appreciate the effort.
Very much so. They've been very, very good to work with. I mean,
appreciate working with that group of people. They've done a tremendous service to the community. That's strictly for your information only. You have your minutes. The zoning bill, zoning board of appeals. Please read them over. That's strictly for information. Okay. That one there somewhere. Clinton County Board of Elections. The federal primary election will be held on Tuesday, the 26th of June, here. I'm not aware there's a federal primary in Clinton County, but there may be. And the machines will be delivered on the 22nd, picked up on the 28th. This is strictly for information. The next thing is the proposal for the fire hydrants. There's a proposal where the town would keep installed fire hydrant extensions provided by Cassell, and we also retain $2,000 of the $5,000 that was held back. If approved, we would need to cut a check for $3,000 to Cassell. They would like that tomorrow if possible. It is the lawyer's recommendation that we accept and settle this.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the settlement.
Okay, thank you.
Get rolling on this.
Is there a second? Thank you. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried, thank you. Amy Davis is from the, pertaining to the testing of the old landfill. We need to do that. They're going to, I have instructed Mickey Tatro to go ahead and approve, call in and tell her to approve this. We do not basically have a choice here. It needs to be done. The team will be here at the closed landfill the week of the 25th to conduct an annual water sampling event. We'd like to complete the inspection at that time. This is something for the public that every year we have to have several tests, not all in the same year, but some years more than others. So this is, I don't feel it's an option, but I guess we should have a motion to approve if that's the will of the board. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Yeah. In discussion, if I could ask, in terms of the cost proposal, I don't have a cost proposal.
I do not have that in front of me either. to tell
So
you
I'm
the
just
truth.
wondering as far as what the breakdown is.
Luge been running about $8,000 a year.
8,000.
This year, it's every 5 years, they got a special test they gotta come in. If you read that, they've done it 5 years ago. This year, what did they say it was gonna be?
I'm thinking 5,000-6,000, is it?
Yeah, just for that one day.
Right.
Extra.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they said it was outside the normal scope of business.
yeah, they come in with special uniforms, I mean, it's a different thing. Normally, they only test 2 wells, and I think this year, the way Mickey was telling me today, they're up to 3 this year. I don't know where the third one's gonna come in, but I don't know what they're gonna, I don't know what they're looking for, put it that way.
It's a new chemical.
I usually go with them every year when they come in, you know, and kind of
Yeah.
see what they're testing for. Last year, I think they were testing just for groundwater, and every year is kind of different. Yeah, I don't know what they're testing for this year.
To my knowledge, we've budgeted roughly $13,000 this year's budget. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna take all of it, the way it looks, okay? It's an ongoing thing that, to my knowledge, we've got to test that for 30 years, I was told. It's been over 20 now, I believe. I guess I did have a motion, I don't believe I called them, did I? For the vote?
No.
Any other questions?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. You want to address the next one, Brian, now, or at a future meeting, or?
We will have to update our water rates by July 1st. I need to sit down and discuss it to bring, John up to speed on it, and I think Ricky needs to look at it too. But we have to do it before July 1st.
Are you recommending a special meeting at the end of the month or something, or?
Yeah, at some point in the future, but I want everybody to feel comfortable before we,
Yes.
allow them to.
School, after 4 o'clock, you might be available?
Anytime after 3:30, I can be here.
Okay. We'll arrange that and call you.
Okay.
Okay. Brian's worked very diligently on this for several months. It's not an easy thing. Yeah, we do have to take care of that, though.
Previously, I indicated for personal reasons, I was trying to recuse myself from being directly involved in this stuff. But I still would like to attend the
Yeah.
meeting and then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We need to approve a couple contracts. I got one here from Joshua Ware. I think everybody's aware of it. It's pertaining to the water project. And there's 3 different contracts for 3 different items. Route 11. Let me see, start at the beginning. There's, I believe, 4 hookups on Route 11. You guys all got that one on the first page? Okay. And West Service Road, there it is, basically. Okay, where that needs to be done. And one is the hookup up there for Danvers, they gotta cross the road. Okay. Am I correct, Brian?
Yeah, 400 east.
Warning the road, yes. Okay. So it is the attorneys and been approved by our attorney to approve a contract with Joshua Ware. You want the figures read? What do we have? Excuse me, Route 11. 1, 2, 3, 4 hookups. That's $34,793. There's mechanic there too. West Service Road is $18,333. And I believe the last one was the third one. Where you got that one from?
17,050,
Pardon?
Gauge.
Oh,
Yeah, 17,400 to 16.
yeah, no description on that one. Does anybody else?
No.
Well, those are 3 of them anyways. I believe they're around $77,000 total. Pardon?
I think the second page takes the 5% off.
Yes.
Correct.
That's- so it's-
That's up to you. I don't think that I did the math, it worked.
And it was,
I got 3 figures, one of them is a blank page,
yeah, mine is too.
17.
And those are 400.
Brian, you got the old one?
I might have it.
Last page.
Second. You have that one
Over here, so let's see, I'll give it another.
same project. Older.
Let me get, oh, where's that for?
Or he subtracted subtracted 1833 and subtracted 900 and got 17,416.
This is it?
There we have it.
Okay. As I read before, bid one was 34,793, bid three was 18,333, bid four was 24,000,
That's what I was.
that's 276, okay?
76.
A total of $77,402. It is the advice of our attorney and our engineers to approve this. And we are looking, we talked to two contractors already about the West Service Road cut, where we have to cut the road for Beeline. I expect those within a week here. Maybe I could have those for our next emergency meeting, we have another meeting this month. So I do believe there was a motion, but no motion in it. I would like a motion then. We'll approve that.
I'll make the motion that
$77,000,
approve
the three contracts. With Josh Lawrence.
$77,402.
Yes, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, thank you. Okay. That was a little confusing. We have a second contract to do some restorations, which is, restoration of the lawns and disturbed water pipes, the drainage pipes on 3 Stevens Church as a result of this water project for $8,450. It's a restoration of the St. John's Episcopal Church on Butternut Street for $780. And 361 Route 11, which is the old funeral home, I call it. It's Bradley Thomas property for $3,100. And I believe it was one more. That's not, you got that one together?
For 500.
500, okay. It is the recommendation of the engineers as well as our attorney to approve this contract with, somebody help me with that name, please.
Inunchuk.
What is it?
Inunchuk.
Inunchuk. Restoration, that's Marty B. Clark. Restoration. Okay. This is a memo from Mark Fabro. He says, I reviewed the contracts and have no concerns about form or content. And Larry is free to sign if the town wishes to do so. I would like a motion to go forward with those 4 restorations.
I make a motion that we approve the initial contract for the 4 areas of restoration totaling $12,830.
Thank you. Have a second. Thank you. Any questions on this contract for $12,830? We're dead. A long time getting to where we are at. If there's no questions or concern, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried, thank you. Highway report, Alan? Or?
I want to make the town board aware about this bug path. I got some concerns that once this gets turned over to the town, there's gonna be some upkeep on that. As far as where it's not paved, we're gonna have trouble mowing that, because it leaves a tire track. It's gonna be hard to keep 4-wheelers out of there. So I don't know, it's up to the town board to look into this as far as, I mean, right now, the county's been taking care of it. They get a complaint, they send a couple guys from the county to take care of it, but that's all gonna fall on us, this. If somebody goes in there and tracks it, we're gonna have to go and straighten it out. Right now, the county goes in there and they spread calcium chloride, they got the machine to do that, and they got a big roller. They go in there and they roll it once a month or whenever it needs it. We don't have that kind of equipment.
This is on the unpaved portion.
That's the unpaved portion.
Yes.
And where does the unpaved portion begin, Alan? And where-
Well, it starts from Paquette Drive, goes to the school, and from the school, crosses the road, then it goes to Prospect. Mostly, 9% of it's all, well, 90, I'd say 99% of it's all stone and dust.
Based upon the recommendation, how many signs, if we were to move in that direction, just signs that would prohibit the use of four-wheelers and those types of all-terrain vehicles, et cetera?
I don't know how far you should put them apart, but is that gonna stop them?
I don't know if it's at least public notice to those individuals.
There should be some notice at the entrance on Paquette Drive as well as 276 and Prospect Street that this is a non-motorized recreation trail.
Right.
Going west from Paquette Drive into the village, is that all paved?
Going up the hill, now there's a good section of it's paved, then it turns into stone and dust, then it's paved again. But they're supposed to pave 2,300 feet of it this summer. Where they're gonna pave, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be on that end there, because there's a lot of washouts. Every time it rains hard, you get a washout.
Okay.
That's another thing we're gonna have to take care of. My recommendation is, before we take it over, we should have it all paved,
Should have a what?
all paved.
Yeah.
I mean, that would solve a lot of problems. I mean, then you can go on and mow it, keep the weeds down. As it is there, I make a tractor track. People go pedal their bicycle, they hit that tire track. You can't help it. I mean, the other day, we made a tire track, I had to go back the next day with a roller, roll the whole thing. You know, it took 3 hours to do all that. I mean, I don't have the big equipment that the county does to go in there with one shot, go in there, and they spread liquid calcium, and then they roll it. That liquid calcium don't last, you spray that, and big rains come, it washes it out, you gotta start all over again. People can't pedal their bicycle.
Do you have a cost estimate of, or you can ask the county how much it costs them to do that every time that they put the calcium
Well,
chloride?
they didn't tell me how much it cost, they're going in tomorrow, I guess, probably, those guys won't know. They're supposed to go tomorrow and spread calcium, I'd like to see how they do that and roll it.
But still, they send their equipment from the county, their time, they spend the whole day there. It's,
We're gonna have to do the same thing.
It's a pretty laborious job and costly,
Well, I think
especially with it.
we need Alan to give us a list of the concerns such as that needs paving before we accept it or anything else. Some of it they can't change. I mean, you mentioned about the 25-foot.
No, they can't change that, but, I
Can't
mean,
change
you know,
that.
as
But,
far as signage, I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, I was working there the other day and I seen 2 4-wheelers right behind me.
You have an idea where they reside?
No, and they, you know, I went like this, I pointed to them the first day, they went right back through the field. I mean, you can't be out there watching these guys all the time. This is gonna be continuously, you can't stop them unless you fence it, but that's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be
too
impossible.
Are they kids, adults,
Well,
kids?
Well,
But
you
the
hear them, you can hear kids at night, you know, the windows are down, you just
only
hear
ones
them.
I heard was the border boys go up down in front of my house on the street, the four wheels.
Okay. Well, there is a ceremony this Friday morning at 10 o'clock on Paquette Drive. You want to call it a grand opening ceremony or whatever, dedication of the rec trail. Everybody's invited to be there. I don't expect it to be long, half hour or less.
Well, I think it's a great accomplishment. I mean, the walk just doesn't go through from Champlain. I think it's a great thing that's been done. We got some nice grant monies, and Harry was instrumental in getting it. And it serves both the villages and the town. It's a great walk. It's just that there's certain areas that I would think are very dangerous for the public, especially if you're gonna leave the village of Rogers Point and go up that stretch of road that's designated 55 miles an hour with no barrier. My concern would be somebody getting hit on that stretch of road. This other stuff that Alan's talking about, it's a nuisance. And if it's cinders and the kids are gonna be on four-wheelers, I mean, you could do the same thing with a bicycle, basically. The kids are riding their, you know, the big two bikes and spinning around, but the four-wheelers are gonna tear up the walk that's not paved. But the most dangerous stretch of that whole walk is between the end of the village of Rouse's Point to
Hayford.
Hayford Road. That is treacherous.
You're right, no question about
There-
that.
And it's, the rumble strip does not protect kids if they're riding their bicycles. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I play golf there and watch cars, looking at people playing golf and driving off. There used to be a ditch there that would protect the golfers because the cars would end up in the ditch, and I've seen them go back and forth in the ditch. And just like last week, there was a car that rolled over. And there was no reason for that accident to occur unless somebody was on a cell phone, not paying attention. It's a straight part of the highway, and it was where the old warehouse used to be, up over the dip, and you could, I mean, the car was airborne. I mean, it was terrible.
That
So
must be the
55 miles, and the lady wasn't injured, but still, I mean, could have hit anybody.
So John, you don't recommend that it's just a reduction in the speed limit in that stretch? You think we need to do more in
I
terms
think
of,
there
on
definitely.
that side of the rumble
Yeah,
strip?
there definitely needs to have some type of barrier. Some type of barrier, because people get distracted. I mean, they're distracted anyway by cell phones and everything else that they're going on, kids in the car, whatever. But to have our public walking or riding a bike, the idea, I think, it would be to have the kids from Rouse's Point or the kids from Champlain to ride back and forth and have access to all this, you know, beautiful. It's a beautiful area to walk. You're in through the wood path, you're following the old railroad bed, but there's gotta be something in that stretch of highway that prevents the cars from going over onto that, other than a rumble strip. That's, before we accept that as a town, I think that's something we really gotta look at. You know, so the county's gotta come up, give us a divider, do something, because that rumble strip doesn't do it. Not my opinion.
I think you're absolutely right.
I had an idea at one time to do that, but it didn't go through with it. You know, it was a rubber, it's like a rubber candle.
Yeah.
10, 12 feet. You got a can. You move them in the fall of the year for the winter, you know, no problem. It gives somebody like a sense of direction. Right now, somebody can fly there. We even had one went on the bike path this winter, went right around the plow truck. Nothing stops it.
So, this is a problem that's gonna need to be addressed.
I think it will, you know, I mean,
It will.
and let's not take away from the whole bike path, but
No.
that particular stretch of the highway.
I think the bike path is good for the students in Rouse's Point or Champlain who wanna ride to the high school, for instance, in good weather. Okay? It's great. You know? Somebody,
I mean, a lot of kids take that on their bicycle. They used to take it, I used to ride a bike a lot. I never took the golf course for a while. I'd go up 276 or I'd go on the Route 11. I'd never take that. I didn't trust it. And
Well,
for
it's
good
very
reason,
narrow.
there's been a lot of accidents on that stretch of road.
I agree.
What do other local municipalities do with, pedestrian or causeways where, what do they put out as far
That's what he's
as?
talking about. You ever go through the border, they have these, what they call candlesticks. They're about 4 feet high, they're rubber mounted. They give, but
Yeah,
you-
for car hits them, they
they'll
bend.
they'll bend and come back. But
Any idea on cost of those?
No, I had seen them in Canada. Canada got them. I thought it was pretty nice. I thought it really stuck out pretty good.
Are they easy to install?
I don't know how they were fastened to their, I didn't pay too much attention that day I looked at them, I didn't know how they were fastened. I know they come out, they take them out in the wintertime for snowplow.
Gonna have them from April to November or something, it would be a big help. Yeah.
I'm just saying, that there's 2, 3 things that before we accept this bike path, county should look into it. We should recommend to them.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you have anything else, Alan, as far as?
So that's it.
Okay. We do have some summer paving coming up later in the summer, probably late July, I believe.
Yeah, he said at the end of July, August, we're gonna be paving, and I'm still gonna pay the parking lot.
Okay, then we're gonna pave this half of the parking lot in front of the office, but not in front of the highway garage, which is badly needed. We've been talking about that for several years now. Okay,
Are we gonna proceed also with the lights that you
Yeah.
recommended at the last meeting during this?
The deal I had with Rouse's Point pending, but I talked to the town of Plattsburgh, see if I can get someone a little cheaper, Brian changed his price.
No, did he really?
Oh, he did.
okay.
Would he still help with the installation?
Well, I would think so.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's any kind of reports that I know of. Yeah, but look,
I just wanted to discuss, Clark had brought up about needing enforcement of our zoning and junkyard law and
Yes.
solid waste. And the Village of Champlain recently adopted the penalties, a penalty phase for the enforcement provisions. And I talked to Mickey about it, and we need the enforcement provisions that they have in the Village of Champlain for the zoning law, the junkyard law, building codes, and the solid waste. He felt our laws are good, but there's no teeth in them, and it's hard for the courts to enforce them. So I just like permission to work with Mickey to adopt this and have Matt Favreau approve it. It need to be a local law, so it will take some time. If anybody has any questions or.
Since this is all, the draft is pretty clean, would this be something that we could do at next month's meeting?
Yeah, well, yeah.
If so, then I know that would be subjected to a public hearing.
Yes.
And also our cable contract would also have to be a public hearing.
I believe so.
Could those be piggybacked at the same time? Could you have both of those?
Two hearings in one evening, yeah. Some hearings are only 5 minutes, 5 minutes. I read that one over, communication one, with Verizon.
Right?
I didn't see a figure of rebate. They pay us every quarter.
Okay,
I didn't see that in there.
all right,
Maybe I missed it.
maybe.
I was looking for dollar signs, maybe we
Well,
go over that.
there's a percentage, wasn't there?
Could have been, yes. Okay, you're right.
3 was there?
I believe the old contract was 3, yes. We'll read that. So maybe we should schedule 2 hearings then. For next month, the meeting will be on 14th. No, excuse me. It's August. July 10th. I'd like to have a motion to have a hearing for, Brian, you want to make that one for this?
For the enforcement provisions pertaining to the zoning, junkyard, building codes, and solid waste laws.
Okay.
With the
Yes.
with stronger penalties in place.
Can we schedule that for, let's say 7:15 on July 10th? And the one for the renewal of the contract?
Cable contract.
Let's, I know what it is first, I guess. I need a second for Brian's motion.
I make a second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Clark, you
I
want
make the motion that we have a public hearing to deal with the cable contract.
Okay, we're looking at, I believe, a 10-year contract? 10-year contract. Okay. What's that? It is.
What was the other one?
Yeah, we did that several years ago. Do you have a second to that? I guess I did also. No? No. How I do? Thank you. We'll schedule that one for 7:30. That be okay? July 10th. You'll advertise that, Julie? Thank you. Motion, we're voting on the second one, on that Verizon.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried, thank you. We can review your post audit bills, and we need to approve the monthly bills. Any questions or concerns about the monthly bills? I reviewed them earlier, I didn't see no. Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Is there any questions or concerns on any of the monthly bills? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries, thank you. Does anybody else have anything else to bring before the board? Pardon? Okay, go ahead.
Salt shed payment application for Bernier Carb, $4,222.50.
Okay. Motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the salt shed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. Send that on, anything else? Yep. Calvin, you had something for us?
Oh, I just came in while John was talking about that all-purpose trail there, and I can't agree more that that's something that's got to be done along that golf course area, and the sooner the better. You can't wait, school is just about out, summer is just about beginning, and it's just a matter of time before some kid gets injured on there, so, don't wait till the fall is here and the season is over. Let's get something done and get it done in a hurry.
I can't agree more. I will be talking to Harry on this. He's the sponsor of the county, is still the lead agency on this project. Okay. We need a lot of signage, barricades or barriers of some type. Try to keep unauthorized vehicles off that if we can. The intent was non-motorized. End of story. I hope somebody doesn't have to get hurt before we learn a lesson.
Well, I think, the sooner we do this, the better it's going to be.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like, if there's nothing else, we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
I thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you.